Watch out!
Is it the best?
Good.
Not the best.
Let's see if they will underwear back then. Do you feel any better?
No. What are the odds of getting sick on a Saturday? 1,000 to 1.
Hi. Yeah.
Now you're filming Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Hi.
Yes. Do you get that too? No.
It's the TV. There's Mommy. Hi, Mom.
There's Joey. Come here, Joe. Say hi. He's running up the stairs. That's his knees going up the stairs.
Well, he's gum.
Okay, now do you feel that button I pushed?
No.
Push it with your thumb.
Right here.
What you feel under your thumb? Push it.
This.
Uh-huh.
This is Joey's feet. Kicking back and forth. Wow. Oh boy, how amazing. Ooh.
His new toy.
Wait, quick, cut it out.
Breckenridge, Colorado at night. We're looking down at Main Street.
Dad, you're gonna get me in the shot.
There's Dee,
Now I'm blind.
and there's Dad.
Both glasses go off at the exact same time or for each eye. Yeah.
Not at the camera. Don't flash the video.
Hi. Now let's look back down at the town.
Now zoom in on those houses way up there on the hill.
How can you zoom in?
This button here.
What button?
Alright. Just go through there at this house. You see the house on the hill? You getting closer?
Yeah. Where's the house though? Now I was pointing at the sky, Dad. What house?
Never mind. Can you see the city?
Yeah. Raise it up a little. That looks neat.
I go real slow. Okay, I go back real slow. Real slow. Okay, zoom back out. And hit stop.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Yeah, let me get you. Gotta get you. Gotta get you.
Let's go.
Let me get you. Real
All these tents and everything.
That miniature golf course. Nothing, is it?
Yeah.
It's ain't about it.
You got something to say?
No.
Strange noise.
Scary.
Look at the TV. Now look at these homes.
Now why didn't we go up those condos?
If you want to take any pictures of it, I would suggest doing it. If you don't, I would suggest not doing
Did we get a ride back down?
it. Nope, we gotta.
You gotta
You gotta roll.
Yeah.
They got cardboard boxes.
For
You get up and
real.
slide.
Yeah, you
big
do.
barrels. They put you
Mom,
in.
for real.
Of course you do, Carrie.
Can I take a picture?
Take one out that side. I just pick one out.
But there's no window. I can't.
You can put it right up to the glass.
This?
Slide against it. Down.
You can't open these things from the inside.
Good.
I guess you could reach around.
I like how it starts to keep off
This is like where Eagles Dare. You hear that guy jump down on the top of it.
No. Good.
Well, in that movie, you had to jump down. Oh.
Did you take a picture of the other car?
I'm glad they made these gondolas in California.
Where they're real experienced.
Yeah.
Here.
don't get the pretty view out that way. The hills are alive.
Some of the statues up here.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Joey.
Feels like we're slowing down.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Joey.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, kiddo.
Carrie, you guys thinking of throwing that out the window, honey?
Let's go and do it.
Stop filming. Okay, why is it on automatic focus?
middle of the day outside would be a good time to go on a hot tub, you know? I mean, it might
Here.
be, but it seems like, I guess it's cooler here.
Now we're gonna look around at some of the
Boy, that looks packed.
They'll have the funds to restore it. For you rail fans on board, you'll recognize it as a little mogul. It's a 260. The stories of mining and railroading up here in the Rockies were very closely linked together. The miners were in desperate need of reliable transportation for a couple of reasons. One of This area on the left-hand side of the train is known as the ballpark. Now, back in the old days, there weren't any trees here. There was a baseball diamond in this location. It was said that if you could hit the ball over the top of this high-fill curve, you had yourself an automatic home run. Usually it was also the end of the ball game unless you had another ball. If you look off the other side, you can imagine it's not very easy to find.
get on the way back.
You can push the button.
No, you got to turn it on. I didn't know.
I don't know.
Then you push this one to move it up closer or back. Do that. Is it done?
Yeah, I don't think,
As we come around this next curve, we're about to start going down the steepest part of our railroad grade. This is a descending 4% grade, and what that means is for every 100 feet of forward travel, we're also dropping 4 feet in elevation. Now, to give you an idea of that distance, 3 of our cars coupled together equals just about 100 feet. And in that short distance, we drop 4 feet in elevation. And that's a pretty steep grade for a railroad. It was due to these steep grades and sharp curves that we just encountered that prompted engineers to build this line in the narrow gauge. Now, narrow gauge measures only 3 feet between the rails, and that's compared with standard gauge, such as the Amtrak trains of today, which is 4 feet, 8 1/2 inches between the rails. Now, in the 1870s, when this line was being built, the old-timers didn't have bulldozers and heavy machinery, so when they came through tough mountain terrain, such as the boulder field that we're about to come up to now, they actually had to hand-drill holes into the big rocks, pack the holes with black powder, then blast them into small enough pieces to be carried out by hand or by mule team. As we come up around the next curve on the left-hand side of the train, we're going to be crossing Clear Creek. If you look up off the left-hand side, you'll get a very good glimpse to see how steeply the river's been dropping. Of course, we haven't come down the same amount of elevation, but it's been going in a straight line as we've been winding our way around the mountainside. crossing Clear Creek, we are going into an area known as the Cut. The Cut is lined on both sides by stone retaining walls that were put up over 100 years ago and without the benefit of cement or mortar. Now, attesting to the builder's skill in that time, these walls are still standing today with very little maintenance. And we are pulling up to our Lebanon mine tour stop now. For those of you who are taking the mine tour, go ahead and start making your way to the rear of the train. You'll exit next to the last car on the train. Once again, this is the Lebanon mine tour stop. If you're taking the mine tour, please make your way to the rear of the train. You'll exit next to the last car on the train. You'll find Conductor John back there ready to open up the gate and let you...
Now when we get inside, I'll show you some of those techniques they use to move further and further back inside of a mountain. Is everybody ready to make their way in? All right, why don't we go ahead. Support everything above them so they could dig underneath those rails. As they move further and further back, they would add these timber supports. Now these are 1 foot by 1 foot beams supporting all these rails, and then those are supported by these 1 by 1 foot beams on either side. Those in turn support those 3-inch planking on either side, holding everything away from us. Now these aren't the original timbers. I might want to tell you. These are all reconstructed by the Historical Society. When the Historical Society came in here in the mid-'70s, they had to replace all the timbers because they noticed they were rotting and failing. So these are safe. And this mine is inspected twice a year by the Colorado Mining Inspector. So I know it looks like some rocks are about to fall through, but don't worry about that. He does inspect those as well. Every now and then, a few small pebbles do find their way through, but it's nothing that's ever majorly big or anything. So don't worry about that. Okay, now this is obviously the timbered section of the mine, just by judging from these timber supports around us. The next portion we'll be going into is what we call the bald-headed or bald-faced section of the mine. That's solid granite. So granite is strong enough so that it doesn't need any artificial supports. Now, it's also the part of the mine that the ceiling does dip to about 5 feet, so if you're not careful, you can hit your head. And it is hard rock. Before we move on, there are a few terms I do want to go over. Occasionally, while I'm giving a tour, you may hear me refer to the term portal, and that's the entrance to the mine. It's just called a portal. And also I'll be using the word adit, A-D-I-T. Now the difference between an adit and a tunnel is that a tunnel has one way in and another way out, whereas an adit has one way in and one way out, and it's back there through the portal. Now originally this was a tunnel, as it did connect with the Everett mine at the top of the hill, and you could make a U-shaped route through the mountain. But there was a cave-in about 900 feet back from this portal that turned this into an adit. Are there any questions thus far? All right, why don't we go ahead and move on. When encounter a vein of silver, it was referred to as a stope. A stope is an overhead ore body, and then they would proceed to stope it out or empty it out. And what we're left with, once we've stoped out that drift, that vein, then in a contraction to siphon all the water out. And what he did, he stuck 2 long rods down into a shaft like this. He pumped compressed air down one rod, and the water would then rise out of the other rod into the main adit here and out through the portal. Now, as you can see, the water is running out naturally. That's because the mine was built on a 1% grade. For that reason. Another reason for that grade was because they relied solely on manpower in these mines. And you can imagine it's a lot easier to push a half-ton ore cart downhill than it would be pushing it uphill or even on level ground. Okay, now you may have noticed the water has a blue tint to it. That's from the copper in the mountains. There's a lot of copper, zinc, calcite, and other minerals found in these mountains. And the copper, when it oxidizes, it becomes blue. And when the water mixes with this copper, it gives the water a nice turquoise look to it. Okay. Are there any questions while we're here? Okay, well, I'm going to ask you to move us about where my light is so we can show these other people what they haven't seen so far. What you're standing over there underneath right now is a winds or rays that goes upward. Everybody kind of moving a little bit further this way so we can fit everybody in, please. Okay, where we're at right now is what we call the hoist room. Now, the lower 2 levels of this mine weren't accessible from the outside, so all the ore had to be brought up from the shafts. And what they would do, the miners in the lower levels, would load all the ore that they would find into barrels such as this and hoist it up using this hoisting equipment. There was a rope tied to this barrel that went up to this pulley up here that was tied around the winch. Now, this hoisting equipment would hoist the ore out of these shafts and put it in ore carts and ship it on out to the mine. That was the only use for it, though. The miners and their equipment also rode up through the shafts in these barrels. It was just too dark for men to be climbing 30 feet straight down through a shaft. So what they would do, they'd hop in these barrels and be brought up. And sometimes problems would arise, and these barrels would smash up against the side of the shafts. And the miners inside would get hurt. They couldn't yell for the operators, the machinery, to stop operating it because they wouldn't be hurt. It was just too loud. So sometimes the miners did end up losing limbs making their way up and down to the shafts. Now, this hoisting equipment was originally designed to run on steam. Unfortunately, they didn't account for the distance the steam had to travel from the portal back here or the drop in the temperature. So by the time the steam reached this machinery, it had turned to water, and thus it had no energy. So they had to convert it to be run on compressed air. This compressed air was pumped out here, and it ran this hoisting equipment. Now you can see this hoisting equipment is original. It was manufactured in Georgetown, if you look right there on the manufacturing plate. And Historical Society did want to bring this all outside and display it out there, but when they got back there, they noticed that it was completely rusted through, and if they were to try to remove it, they would have busted it apart, so they just kind of left it back here, which is nice since this is where it belongs anyway. Okay. As I mentioned, the ore and the men were brought up in barrels from the shafts, and look over there, there is a wind, it's a downward shaft that goes down 60 feet low. The other one was the Alhambra loop. Well, the mine itself produced $500,000 worth of silver in its time, and this particular vein accounted for $200,000 worth of it. So it was a pretty important vein they were aiming for. Okay, while we're here, I just want to point out a few more mineral deposits. Right there, if you look at that red stuff that's coating the rock, that's all zinc that seeped through the cracks of the mountain with the water. If you look up here, there's the white stuff, calcite, mixing with the copper, causing that blue look. And if you look back here, you'll see what we refer to as snot rock. Now, it may look slimy, but it's just a mineral that coats the granite, and when it gets wet, it looks slimy. So you can go ahead and touch it if you want. It's not slimy or anything, it's just wet. Okay, up here we have some stalactites beginning to form. Calcite is what causes stalactites to form. Now, stalactites only grow about 1 inch every 100 years, and the oils from human fingers will stop their growth, so we ask that you please don't touch those. Okay, up here we have more copper mixing with calcite, giving us that turquoise look again. And down here we have some zinc, it's that red stuff. All right, are there any questions while we're in here?
What do the miners get paid?
They're making $3.50 an hour or a day, depending on how long they are with the company.
I'll drop down to that barrel. That's the pump there.
There's the manufacturing plate there. Now through here. Now these photographs, there is something I like to point out about them. If you look closely at the mountains, you'll see there are any trees. That's because the timber supports this, the trees around this area were all used for timber support inside the mine. All the mine support buildings had to be built out of wood, and most of the houses in Georgetown and Silver Plume were built out of wood, and of course all those houses had fireplaces. So by the peak of the Silver Plume, you sometimes had to hike 5 to 10 miles into the mountains to find any timbers worth using. Now all you see around you here today is all natural second growth. And here's just a photograph taken of Georgetown. If you look off in the distance here, you can see the Devil's Gate High Bridge. A thing I like to point out about this photograph and that one over there is how densely populated Georgetown was back then. At the peak of the silver boom, there were about 5,000 people living in Georgetown compared to today's population of about 900. And even at one point, Georgetown was up for consideration. Silver interview pictures taken of the Lebanon silver mine for a couple reasons. One was back then they had to use flash powder instead of flash bulbs. And if you were to inhale that flash powder, obviously the Lebanon mill site. This is where they would process all of their silver ore. When they hit a vein inside the mountain, they bring it out on ore cars down the ore tracks that are there where that road is today, and down into the ore receiving wing. That's the wing focus group. What we call the grizzlies. And the grizzlies were where they separate all the larger rocks from all the loose stuff. All the larger rocks were sent to the crusher. Once they passed the crusher, they went through the bucket elevator into some sizing screens. The sizing screens basically sized all the smallest silver ore from the largest silver ore. If it was too small or it was too large to pass the largest sizing screen, it was sent back to the crusher and the whole process would start again. Now once they made it through their respective sizing screens, the ore would pass through a sampler and into some jigs. And these jigs were basically like a gold panning technique. Has anybody here been gold panning before? Okay, well with gold panning, what you do is you find your sample in a creek that you think has gold in it, you put it in a pan with water and shake it around for a while. The theory behind this is the gold is a heavy mineral, so it'll sink to the bottom. Whereas on the lighter impurities, which float on top, and you can just wash it off with the water. Same theory with the jigs. With the silver ore, all the heavier, pure silver will sink to the bottom, and all the lighter stuff with all the impurities will stay on top. They can just wash all that light stuff off down the creek with the water. Once they were done processing it that way, they would load it on the Loop Railroad and send it to Blackhawk, Simple City, or Golden for smelting. That was just the technique they used to burn all the impurities out of it and to extract all the pure silver from it. Okay, now everything they didn't take down to the mill, they dumped right here. This is one giant mine tailing that stretches from here all the way to the train platform. Now they didn't know it at the time, but what they were doing was actually dumping about 50% of their profits right here. So if we were to go through and reprocess all of this mine tailing, we'd wind up with a great bit of silver. Unfortunately, it would cost a lot more to reprocess all this stuff than you would get from actually selling it. So it's not worth doing. Okay, now as I mentioned before, there's one part of the building that is original, and it's the furthest portion of the mill. The black wood. Alright, well that about does it for me. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you did, my name is Sean. If not, my name is Burr. Your train should be here in about 10 minutes. If you just want to meet at the platform, that's fine. If you want to look around the site here for a little while, feel free to do that. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you, or one of the other guys will as well. But in the meantime, we have about 10-15 minutes for the train.
Up to the station. So we can be the first one. We won't be the trail before.
First again at a third level of line, levels 1 and 2 are no longer accessible as they now fill out the spring water. Where you see these three little brown jacks down below, that is where the entrance to the 11-mile line is. There's the water track just to the right of them, and follow that track straight back in. The final portal. They came back across this way over Devil Gate High Bridge and onto the right-of-way that we're on right now. By doing so, they were able to maintain about a 3.5% grade while increasing their track miles to 4.5 miles.
There's room with that.
For you trivia buffs, the bridge itself is 300 feet long. It is also built on a 2% grade. Although the bridge looks perfectly level, this side of the bridge is actually 6 feet higher than the opposite side. It is also built on an 18-degree curve, which is higher than usual for a bridge of this size. From the tracks above to the tracks below are 75 feet. From the tracks above to the riverbed below are 100 feet. As we get out here to the center, you're invited to take a look straight down. Off the right-hand side of the train, you will get a good shot of Georgetown. And the left-hand side of the train, that way to the building. You have about Morgan Valley Center, or Devil Gate, Georgetown, Morgan area. Next door was the original Colorado Highway 6.
Because they don't have place to turn around.
Quite often we do get asked questions about the equipment that we use here in the Georgetown Loop. Today we have been pulled by engine number 14. Now, engine 14 was built in 1916 by the Lionel Locomotive Works of Lionel, Ohio. It is a J-type locomotive designed primarily for mountain logging and mountain mining railroading. You have 3 vertical pistons located in front of the cab. In order to do that, you have to offset the boiler. Now, the pistons are attached to flexible drive shafts, and the drive shafts are attached to all 6 axles, including the tender. So all the wheels in this locomotive are powered. They do not have a whole lot of speed, and they certainly have a lot of horsepower.
Staying on our way. We're just staying on
The
our
first car right behind the engine today came to us from the Westside Lumber Company. In its original form, it was a skeleton log car. It was transferred to a passenger car in 1949 to the Chicago Railroad Fair. The second car back, the Great Sea car, was originally a refrigerator car, and it did do service here in the loop with the Colorado and Southern Railway. The balance of the cars in the train today were once all gondola cars carrying bulk commodities, and they served in the Denver and Rio Grande Western.
Where's the weather? Let's go for a shower. Mom, where's the house? Let's go for a shower.
As we continue around this curve to the left, we'll be heading into our Morrison Valley Center, Devil Gate, Georgetown boarding area. For those of you who've been boarded here in Georgetown this morning, we sincerely want to thank you for riding with us over the Georgetown Loop. For those of you who boarded in Silverflow, we'll be here in the Valley Center over the station stop, hauling both passengers and push the locomotive around together as we train. If you would welcome to get off of your line, however, please decline your activities to the platform side of the station, as the engine will be moving right as we go underneath this bridge, and this is not the original bridge. The original bridge, which was built in 1884 at a cost of $250,000, was torn down and sold for scrap in 1939, and there was a measly scrap value of $400. The reconstruction took place in 1984, and it cost a cool $1 million. The reconstruction is 5 times stronger than the original bridge, as this bridge is made of solid steel and reinforced concrete abutment, as opposed to the original bridge, which was made of iron and stone. Now keep in mind as we go underneath the bridge that the track we're on is 75 feet below the bridge above. The riverbed next to us is 100 feet below. We tell you these dimensions so when you go across the top and look so deceiving, the dimensions will not be changing.
It's cold. You had to back down.
No, a cloud from the sky. It went way down in our backyard. And then someone over and we were playing and then the cloud came. It was circling around and we went over and we were touching the cloud and stuff and we got stuck in it.
Really want to give me that construction.
Parking up here.
Yeah, we're not driving up, Mr. Up.
Gosh. Look over here.
Oh no, it's not mine.
Oh, and there's a
It's a $4,000.
huh? Not too close. Okay, that's far enough. Gary. No, stay back here.
This would be good for a camp panoramic view, long ways.
There's Dad, heading for the facilities.
Well, I'm looking at this down here.
Joey.
I'll get a pair and you can get a.
You get a pair and he gets a bear?
What about having a...
I get a pair and you get a bear.
What about having a...
Well, this where I like
picnic up
it.
here?
This where I do like it.
Except we have no food with us. We have potato chips.
Like, it's better up here because you can do more.
Let me see for a second.
He's gone?
Use yours.
Oh yeah, well I just don't want to get him out for...
Not yet, Dad. Well, we might go over there.
Gosh, keep on seeing these lines of land farther and farther out.
I know. Look out that way. I saw you, camera. Cool, Joey. Look out.
I see that bridge that we came across on.
Look to the right. A bridge. Over the lake.
Yep. I got a sign in the picture that said slow. That's neat. I got that lake in it. That was snow. see all the curves in the road down there.
And all those rocks, Joey.
Okay, Gary.
Look at you, Daddy. Just
It's gonna rain.
Oh, lightning. Just right over that lighted up mound over
He's showing me something. I want to show the camera something. Look at that view, camera.
Carrie, move, please. It's raining. Almost slipped.
Ooh,
Windy.
it's freezing here.
Can we take it?
see that one who came over here and was
We're looking at overlooking that rock. Yeah! I know. Stop, Joe. Smile.
Dad, take me a Joey is now 16.
Looking, you down there? Did it come on?
Did you see that? That was horrible.
Yeah,
What time?
Oh, like she was full of ice. Oh.